I learned how close I came to death.
On October 28, 2023, the world woke to news that felt unreal. Matthew Perry was gone. The man who made millions laugh as Chandler Bing on Friends had been found unresponsive in his Los Angeles home. At first glance, it seemed like another heartbreaking celebrity loss. Sudden, shocking, tragic. But as fans revisited his final interviews, his memoir, and the tone of his recent public appearances, a deeper, more haunting narrative began to emerge. Perry had spent much of his life fighting a battle that few fully understood. Behind the sarcasm and impeccable comedic timing was a man who had long wrestled with addiction, insecurity, and a relentless desire to feel whole. In many ways, he had already been saying goodbye through reflection, confession, and hard-earned honesty. This is not merely the story of how he died. It is the story of how fame, pain, survival, and vulnerability shaped the final chapter of his life, and what may have truly unfolded in those last quiet hours. The boy who wanted to be seen. Long before Hollywood fame, Matthew Perry was a child navigating emotional instability and change. Born in 1969 and raised between Canada and the United States, he experienced his parents' separation at a young age, moving frequently and rarely feeling rooted. Stability was fragile, and with it came a quiet longing to be seen and valued. He found early escape in tennis and humor. As a teenager, he became one of Canada's top junior tennis players. But when he relocated to Los Angeles, he realized he was no longer the best. That loss of identity struck deeply. Acting soon became his new pursuit, and on stage he discovered something transformative. When he made people laugh, they paid attention. Laughter brought validation. Applause brought connection. Comedy became both shield and currency. Yet beneath the charm lay insecurity and loneliness, a persistent fear of not being enough. Those early emotional cracks, formed in childhood, would widen under the glare of fame, shaping the vulnerabilities that followed him into adulthood. Friends and the beginning of addiction. In 1994, everything changed when Matthew Perry was cast as Chandler Bing on Friends, a show that would become a global phenomenon. Overnight, he transformed into a household name, recognized across continents, adored by millions. The cast's chemistry captivated audiences, and the sitcom's success brought extraordinary wealth and attention. Yet behind the laughter and bright studio lights, another story unfolded. After a jet ski accident, Perry was prescribed painkillers. What began as legitimate medical treatment slowly evolved into dependency. As Friends soared to the top of television ratings, Perry privately struggled with alcohol and opioids. At the height of the show's success, he earned $1 million per episode, yet later admitted he could not remember filming 3 entire seasons. While viewers saw comedic brilliance, he felt emptiness and detachment. The applause grew louder, but internally he was fading. Fame amplified everything, including the addiction that had quietly taken root, setting the stage for a battle that would define much of his life. The downward spiral. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Matthew Perry's addiction intensified dramatically. He entered rehabilitation multiple times, each attempt marked by hope and relapse. His physical health deteriorated. At one point, his weight dropped to 128 pounds. In 2000, he was hospitalized with pancreatitis linked to substance abuse, and doctors warned that continuing on the same path could be fatal. Yet addiction is not easily silenced by fear. It distorts judgment, clings to pain, and convinces its victim that survival depends on the very substance causing harm. Perry later revealed he had spent over $7 million trying to achieve sobriety. Money, status, and success offered no immunity. Despite public smiles and red carpet appearances, he privately faced a relentless internal war. He once stated, chillingly, "I should be dead," acknowledging how close he had come to losing everything. For years, many feared the outcome seemed inevitable. The battle was constant, exhausting, and deeply isolating. The comeback attempts. What is often overlooked in Matthew Perry's story is the depth of his determination to fight back. Despite repeated relapses, he continued striving for recovery, not only for himself but for others. He established a sober living facility to provide support for individuals struggling with addiction and used his platform to advocate for treatment reform. In 2022, he published his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, a brutally honest account of his life's darkest chapters. Within its pages, he described near-death experiences, including a moment when his heart reportedly stopped for 5 minutes due to opioid use, leaving doctors doubtful he would survive. Against the odds, he did. The book was not polished for comfort. It was raw and confessional. Many readers believed he had finally found a sense of peace through honesty. Yet recovery is complex and nonlinear. Even after surviving unimaginable trauma, the scars, physical and emotional, remained, shaping his final years in quiet but profound ways. The final months. In the months leading up to his death, Matthew Perry appeared publicly reflective and cautiously hopeful. He actively promoted his memoir, participated in interviews, and spoke passionately about wanting to be remembered for helping others overcome addiction. He expressed pride in being someone who could tell another struggling person, "Yes, you can recover." Yet beneath that optimism, some observers sensed fatigue. Years of substance abuse had taken a severe toll on his body. Organ strain, cardiovascular stress, and long-term damage lingered beneath the surface. On the day he died, reports indicated he had played pickleball earlier, returning home afterward. Later, he was found unresponsive in his hot tub. Authorities initially reported no signs of foul play. For many fans, the question was not simply about that day, but about accumulated years of strain. Sometimes tragedy is not a single dramatic moment, but the result of prolonged battles. His body, after decades of war, may simply have been overwhelmed. What really happened? Official reports later concluded that drowning was the cause of death, with contributing factors related to substances found in his system. Yet reducing Matthew Perry's passing to a single incident oversimplifies a far more complex reality. Addiction fundamentally alters brain chemistry and can leave lasting vulnerabilities even after extended sobriety. His body had endured repeated hospitalizations, organ damage, and cardiac stress over decades. Each episode left residual impact. When people ask, what really happened? The deeper answer may lie in accumulation rather than immediacy. Years of invisible battles, physical trauma, and psychological strain converged. There was no dramatic scandal, no elaborate conspiracy, just a quiet ending in his own home. His death was tragic not because it was mysterious, but because it reflected how relentless addiction can be, even after periods of recovery. The final moment may have been sudden, but the underlying struggle had been unfolding for most of his life, legacy, and the thing he feared most. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of Matthew Perry's story is his expressed fear of being remembered only as Chandler Bing. While that role brought him global recognition and joy to millions, he longed for a deeper legacy, one defined by helping others survive addiction. Through candid interviews and his memoir, he dismantled stigma by speaking openly about relapse, shame, and the exhausting process of recovery. Thousands have since shared that his honesty encouraged them to seek treatment or admit their struggles. That impact extends beyond television reruns and punchlines. He was not a flawless hero, but a profoundly human man who fought publicly and privately against a powerful disease. His life serves as a reminder that fame does not eliminate pain, and humor can coexist with profound suffering. If his story teaches anything, it is to look beyond laughter and check on those who seem strongest. His legacy may ultimately be compassion, vulnerability, and the courage to speak truth.